many rounds will you chant today? One round. In the course of the whole day, you're going to chant one round. That's how many you've chanted so far today? How many at the end of the day? 64. How about your friend? How many rounds are you going to chant today? Not so many, not so far. By the end of the day, 64. That's your target. Okay. How about you? How many rounds you plan to chant today? Over 64. Let's see how many beads are on your strand. Anyway, that's nice having a goal like that, but it's not at all a surprise that our young devotees set a goal like that and they meet their goal. It's very common, and sometimes many more than 64. Sometimes too many, you can't believe it. That's been my experience. How many here have already chanted 16 rounds? Shamsundar, you must have chanted 16. Huh? Deity worship. Okay. 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 How many have chanted 32 rounds already? I'm still on jet lag. So I explained to Badahari, don't be surprised if I don't make it through last night, because jet lag wins when you're having a battle with jet lag. So I was up at 1:30 this morning and I'm halfway done. But jet lag's going to hit me in the afternoon, I'm almost certain of it. A little feedback. Three. One is, just after the Guru Puja Kirtan, you don't get a score of 10 for Mauna Vrata, I'll tell you. The group needs to be conscious of Mauna Vrata. That means not just don't, but do. Let your mind go to Krishna and Krishna's holy name today, and you'll see the power if you do that. And it's kind of distracting for those that are doing it, those that aren't. So please observe, you'll find strength. Second little comment, I was debating whether to say this or not, but I'm going to say it. The last part of Shamsundar's presentation of, the 4 beads beside the 16 beads, I've never heard that before in 47 years of devotional service. So I'm not saying it's not so, I'm just saying I never heard it before. So if you haven't been doing that, it's not like you're in a penalty box if you don't do it, or you're not using your counter beads properly. Because if that's the case, then for 47 years I have not been doing things properly. It's not a rule that I'm aware of. Never heard it. And just one other sharing, and then we'll carry on with this. In addition to just this appreciation of the importance of learning something, becoming expert at that something, and training others in that something, it's a very sutra-like description of something all the senior members of our society have been thinking about, contemplating, discussing. The succession, like how to, this, sharing with you from like the GBC meeting that we just had, and everything's got to have an acronym these days, SGGS, what's that? Sannyasis, Gurus, and GBC Sangha, SGGS. We've had our 4th one, and the theme of 3 days together was what we need to do today to make the handoff to the next generation better than if we don't do those things today for tomorrow. The next generation is many of you, if not most of you, and succession and successful handoff historically has not been, in organizations of the world, studies have been done to see what we need to do to make succession successful, or that you all can observe ISKCON 100. Because the handoff isn't smooth often, and something happens that's not desirable. So how to have the desirable? So I was thinking more about the comment I made of Prabhupada's statement to Burijan, Krishna consciousness means. And I think I want to add that an exemplary individual is Badahari Prabhu, because he has received, in association with Agni Dev and others, deep appreciation for the chanting of the holy name. And it's not just one, but many persons have received his gift and inspiration and training, and that's Krishna consciousness. So it's not just at all one person by any means. We all need role models and teachers and persons to guide us on the path to Krishna, become expert in some form or fashion of manifesting service to Krishna and train others. That's our life. So, this is by design going to be a short discussion this morning, so you can get back to the day's mission. One of our great acharyas, Sanatana Goswami, is given the credit for writing Hari Bhakti Vilas. And by the way, the Sanskrit scholars in Vrindavan are working on that translation. Gopi Pranadana began it, as far as I can recall, and they're continuing, and one day we'll have an English translation of this wonderful book, Hari Bhakti Vilas. It's in simple language, it's a how-to manual. How to do anything that a Vaishnava does. How to worship the deity, how to observe festivals, how to chant the holy name, how to chant mantra, how to receive diksha, how to all of our rituals and everything. It's how to in the Hari Bhakti Vilas. And there's one section in mantra chanting that Sanatana Goswami says, this class is dedicated to that message. When chanting mantra, one should meditate on the meaning of the mantra. So we want to connect in the fullest possible way with the efficacy, the power, the potency of mantra. And of course, there's material mantras. By sound vibration, matter moves. And by spiritual sound vibration, the spirit moves, or the soul awakens to the soul's original consciousness in contact with spiritual sound vibration. And one of the essential elements of the chanter of spiritual sound vibration is, according to Hari Bhakti Vilas, meditating on the meaning. Now, initially, just like in the case in Brihat Bhagavatamrita, Gopakumar received mantra from his spiritual master in Vrindavan, and he didn't know the meaning, but he had faith in his spiritual master and faith in the gift that his spiritual master had given him, although he didn't know lots of things. He didn't know if he should chant aloud or silently. He didn't know if he should chant at certain times of the day. He didn't know if he should chant all day long. He didn't know so many things. But he had faith in his spiritual master and faith in the mantra, and that carried him all the way to Goloka Vrindavan. Eventually, of course, he understood the meaning of his Gopal mantra. Madan Gopal, by the way, is the name of Sanatana Goswami's deity. Madan Mohan and Madan Gopal are the same. So his main character, Gopakumar, is meditating on his Madan Gopal mantra. And it's the same mantra that Lord Brahma received. And Lord Brahma also achieved spiritual perfection. So we have also been given mantra. In fact, our mantra is a universal mantra that anyone, everyone can be invited to chant. But in course of time, to go further in gaining the full effect of the mantra, in addition to being attentive to what? Attentive to the sound, and the sound has meaning. So that's what we're going to do this morning. It's fun. Meditation on the meaning and the glories of the holy name. So here is Radha Madhava, or Radha Nila Madhava, and here's the meaning of Madhava. Madhava is a name of Krishna that specifically means the husband of the goddess of fortune. When Janadivas tells this story, Janadivas is the head pujari in Mayapur who's been there for some number of years, 40-something years, as a brahmachari just serving Radha Madhava. So the initial deity was a brass deity that they gave some name. I don't recall, Radha Krishna name or something. And when Prabhupada came to know the name that they had called the deity, or were addressing the deity, Prabhupada said, no, the deity should be Radha Madhava. And he gave the explanation. This is the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Same as in the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the deity is Radha Madhava. And the reason Bhaktisiddhanta gave is, this is the Yogpith. It's the place of origin of the personality of Godhead, and therefore the deity is Radha Madhava, the goddess of fortune, and the consort of the goddess of fortune are in that Yogpith at the center of the Mayapur, Sridham Mayapur. And so the deity in Mayapur, Prabhupada renamed Radha Madhava. So here is Radha Nila Madhava. And Radharani is the original goddess of fortune. And Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune in Vaikuntha, is her expansion. So that's the meaning of Madhava, the husband of the goddess of fortune. And then Rishikesha. Rishikesha is the Lord who directs the senses of the devotees. We commonly say the master of the senses, Rishikesha Sevanam. But the Lord of the senses, the master of the senses, is he who directs the senses of the devotees, and the senses of the devotees are directed to serving the master of the senses, serving him. He gives direction to the senses, how to act in a way that's pleasing to the master of the senses, Rishikesha. That's the meaning. And Achyuta. Achyuta means infallible or cannot fall. The living entity is Chuta, and Krishna is Achuta. He cannot fall. He's eternally situated in transcendence. Even when he comes here, he's eternally situated in transcendence. So the picture in the upper left, that's the spiritual master of Gopakumar receiving mantra, and over on the lower left, that's Narada similarly giving mantra and other instruction of how to achieve the shelter of Lord Vishnu to Dhruva Maharaj. And because the Lord is Achyuta, those who take his shelter, they also become Achyuta-like, or endowed with qualities like him. So Krishna, the infallible one. Then another very common name of Krishna is Keshava. Keshava indicates the long, fine black hair that adorns the head of Krishna, Keshava. Madhusudana, Krishna, who is the killer of the demon Madhu. It's described in many places, but at the very beginning of creation, when Brahma was manifesting the four Vedas, these two demons, Madhu and Kaitaba, they tried to steal the Vedas. Brahma appealed to Lord Vishnu, please return the Vedas. These demons have stolen the Vedas. So Lord Vishnu came, and there you see the heads of the two, Madhu and Kaitaba, and he restored the Vedas back to Lord Brahma. So Madhu Sudana, the killer of the demon Madhu. Then another name, Janardana. This is Prabhupada's language. Commonly we speak of Janarda as a name of the Supersoul, but more expanded is he who is the original abode, protector, and maintainer of all living beings. Now, specifically the living beings within this realm, the cosmic manifestation realm. But there's also the spiritual realm, and that name of Krishna by which he extends protection, maintenance. If you recall from our discussions on Sharanagati, these two, protection and maintenance, are essential, and that original protector is Krishna, or his feature of Janardana, the protector, maintainer, and original abode of all living beings, Janardana. Another name, less common, Varshneya. Varshneya means one who is a descendant of the Vrishni dynasty. When there's a painting of Krishna appearing in the prison house of Kamsa, and Krishna was the son of Vasudeva, who was in the line of Vrishni, Andaka, and Bhoja dynasties, mentioned in the Bhagavatam again and again. So the Vrishni, a great king, in that line is Vasudeva, and Krishna appeared as a descendant in that line, Varshneya. And another name of Krishna is Adi Sudana. Adi means the enemies of Krishna, and Krishna is the Sudana, the killer of the enemies. Of course, the enemies, they came to kill Krishna, sent by Kamsa. So many images pictured here of demons sent to kill Krishna. And then there's Kamsa himself. So Adi Sudana, a name of Krishna. Purushottama, the Uttama Purusha, the topmost person, the greatest of all persons is Krishna. Who can do what Krishna did? Marrying 16,100 princesses, and then expanding himself into 16,100 Krishnas and living in a palace with each one of them. And He's the greatest person. So much so that people think this is fantasy. But they have no idea of the unlimited potency of this greatest of all persons, Purushottama. Another name is Yadava. So he appeared also in the Yadu dynasty, therefore Yadava. And amongst the demons, the Keshi demon, killer of the Keshi demon, is Keshi Sudana. Each of these names, in other words, each of the names are invested with potencies, just like when you read chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna addresses Krishna by different names, and Prabhupada takes the time to explain within Krishna is everything, and a particular name is invoked because it invokes a certain aspect of Krishna. So in the names, there's potencies of the all-potent, some aspect of Krishna. So our Mahamantra features the best of all names, the original person from whom all expansions and other features come. Swayam Bhagavan Krishna. That's the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are appreciating him. So when saying each one of these names, potencies are there, and it reminds us of the original person from whom these various names arise. So this Vasudeva name can mean two things, primarily. One is obviously the son of Vasudeva is Vasudeva. And just as in Bhagavad Gita, second meaning, the all-pervasive truth. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Samahatma Sudurlabha. Krishna is everything. This is another meaning of this Vasudeva. Krishna is Yogeshwara, the master of all mysticism. So in different circumstances in Krishna's pastimes, devotees, in case of Lord Brahma, he was examining the limit of Krishna's mystic power, or demons would also match their power against Krishna's power, and guess who won? Krishna always wins because he's the master of all mysticism. Then, of course, our most familiar and loved name, Krishna himself. And Krishna, we heard, we'll see it again in a moment, another meaning of Krishna given by Baladev Vijayabhusan from the Upanishads. But the name that Prabhupada often gave us was Krishna, who is all attractive. So obviously, Krishna is attractive to his dear cowherd boyfriends and the gopis and mother and father, and of course the cows. Krishna loves the cows and the cows love Krishna. But it's not just the cows, it's every living entity in Vrindavan. They have, of a particular rasa, or nature of love, they have spontaneous, loving attraction for Krishna. And they hanker to have Krishna pass by in the forest, or to hear the sound of his flute, or catch some particles of dust that come from his feet as he passes by with the cows. Their whole absorption is so intensely fixed on the all-attractive Supreme. Here's this message of Baladev indicating the meaning of the name Krishna. It's an additional meaning. The syllable Krish means existence, and the syllable Na means bliss. The combination of these two is Krishna, the name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. the existence that gives all bliss, or that embodies all bliss, Krishna. Krishna. When we chant, we can meditate on the meaning of the sound vibration. And another very powerful meditation when chanting is even the first syllable, the very moment the first syllable is vibrated, the sound attracts the attention of Lord Krishna himself. While we're distracted, Krishna is attracted. We're imperfect and he's perfect. He's a perfectly loving person. And it's that perfectly loving person who we're calling his name. And of course, Govinda, Krishna, who gives pleasure to the senses. In this painting, it's the Govardhan Leela, and Krishna enacted this pastime for many reasons, but one of them was to give the associates of Vrindavan uninterrupted pleasure by seeing him uninterruptedly for 7 days and nights, without any fatigue, without any thirst or hunger, because they were so absorbed in their senses beholding the beauty, the smile, and the loving qualities of Krishna uninterruptedly. And of course, especially the cows. The cows have deep, deep affection for Krishna, naturally so, and Krishna has deep affection for the cows. And therefore his planet carries the name Goloka. Nice illustration of the whirl of the lotus of Goloka. And of course in the center, the corolla of the lotus, there's Radha and Krishna. According to Brahma Samhita, the petals, as you see in the painting, they're the inner circle of petals is the names of the principal gopis, assistants of Radha, and then other gopis and unlimited, using Dinabandhu's phrase, megabytes and gigabytes of petals of the abodes of Krishna's associates in Vrindavan. And directly in the center, Radha Krishna. And this is the circumference around Radha Krishna. This is this hexagonal Gopal mantra that Madan Gopal was chanting. So when we're engaged today in chanting our mantra, Radha and Krishna are at the center. This Hare Krishna. It's an appeal, very simply put, an appeal for Radha to hear our call and give us engagement in the eternal loving service of Krishna. Service mood is awakened by this Maha Mantra, and then further and further and further, that mood of service to Krishna displaces all other interest, all other shelter, all other attraction for happiness, all material existence can dissolve. The binding forces that keep us in material existence, the potency is there. To the degree that we avail ourselves to that potency, and this process of taking shelter, sharanagati, helps us get there. So I wish you all a happy journey to Krishna's shelter, the shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. There's just a few other verses here. Let me offer my respectful obeisances. This is from the 12th canto Bhagavatam. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master. This is Sutta speaking. The son of Vyasadeva Shukadeva Goswami. It is he who defeats all inauspicious things within this universe. Although in the beginning he was absorbed in the happiness of Brahman realization and was living in a secluded place, giving up all other types of consciousness. This shows the episode described in the first canto Bhagavatam, where after his birth of 16 years of age, he finally left the womb of his mother, immediately left home. And Vyasadeva is coming behind him, saying, Shukadev, Shukadev, and he kept walking. And he went to live in the forest. And his father had a plan how to get him back. Vyasadeva sent some of his disciples to go into the forest and recite verses from Srimad Bhagavatam aloud. And you'll find one teenage boy out there somewhere, and when he hears this sound of Srimad Bhagavatam, he'll become attracted. So just keep reciting the verses and come back, and he'll follow you back, and then he'll be back home. Then I can teach him this whole Srimad Bhagavatam too. It's described Brahma Vaivarta Purana. So he had given up all other types of consciousness. However, he became attracted by the pleasing, most melodious pastimes of Ajita, specifically mentioned in the Bhagavatam verse, the unconquerable Lord. He, therefore, mercifully spoke this supreme Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the bright light of the absolute truth and which describes the activities of the Lord, Ajita, Krishna. And so the Bhagavatam is revealing this Ajita message. Now just in conclusion, 3 beautiful glorifications of the holy name by our acharyas. The first one, if you remember, we discussed Namastaka, verse number 1. You see the image here, where the tips of the toes of the lotus feet of the holy name are worshipped by the effulgence emanating from the crest jewel of the Vedas, the Upanishads. Remember that one? So that was the first. And liberated souls like Shukadev and Narada Muni, they hold this holy name within their heart. So this is Namastakam 6. This is Rupa Goswami. O holy name, you have manifested in 2 forms. 1, the Supreme Person, described by the holy name, and 2, the sound vibration of the holy name. We know that the second form is more merciful than the first. Even a person who commits many offenses to the first form may become always plunged in an ocean of bliss by serving the second with his voice. The holy name is filled with mercy. And his elder brother, Sanatana Goswami, describes the holy name in this way. All glories to the all blissful holy name of Sri Krishna, which causes the devotee to give up all conventional religious duties, meditation, and worship, when somehow or other, uttered even once by a living entity, the holy name awards him liberation. The holy name of Krishna is the highest nectar. It is my very life and my only treasure. Sanatana Goswami writes this in the invocation verses or introductory verses, the Mangalacharana verses of Brihat Bhagavatamrita. My very life and my only treasure. Those things that you value, that's where your attention goes, just like at the time of death. It is said your whole life passes in review and you get stuck on that thing which you're most attached to or which you value the most, and that's where you go. Like Sanatana Goswami in his touchstone or sparsha money. He was in the garbage and the Brahmin who received it from him found it worked, so why is he leaving it in the garbage? Because he has something that he values more, the holy name. And finally, our Shukadeva Goswami, pictured here, taken directly from Canto 2, when he first begins speaking, in the whole of the Srimad Bhagavatam, starts in Canto 2. O King, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord, after the ways of the great authorities, is the doubtless and fearless way of success for all, including those who are free from all material desires, those who are desirous of all material enjoyment, and those who are self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge. And again, Shukadeva speaks, devotional service beginning with the chanting of the holy name of the Lord is the ultimate religious principle for the living entity in human society. So we're on the right path. We're doing the right thing. And we wish, through the association together, chanting together, the 64 round day, to go more deeply into that place of shelter of the holy name. So please help one another. Chant with great attention, and you'll feel, especially those who have not been part of one of these events, you'll feel some charge in the air. So if you need, where's Chirag? Oh, he's over there. If you need to go for a walk, go for a walk. At the same time, you can walk in the temple room, it's perfectly fine. And you'll find that there's a lot of good spiritual energy here by staying with the other devotees, especially if you get some ventilation going in the room. That would be really nice. And there's a lot of strength. Commonly at the end of, so sometime later today we'll do some sharing what your experience was. And devotees commonly say, my first number of rounds were really good, then I was getting restless, so I went for a walk, and it was worse than when I was restless. When I came back, it was, wow, this like bumblebees just buzzing the holy name. It was so nice. I just was lifted up by that. And many of us, many of you, chant in your home. You don't have the opportunity to chant together with other devotees. Take advantage of the opportunity. Stay focused. Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhava Ki Jai. Stay focused. Take strength from one another. If you're drifting, sit next to somebody that's really focused, and it'll help you get focused. You'll see these things as you go through the day. And wherever Krishna wants to take you, be ready to go with Krishna in the shelter of his holy name. So you're going to announce the schedule and what we're going to do. And I'll just as soon as we're done and he finishes his announcements, let's get a score of 10 at Mona Vrata and go take breakfast or whatever you'd like to do after that. Need the microphone? Oh, he's got one.
Okay, today's schedule. I believe for 1 hour before we actually take breakfast, we're supposed to be chanting. So my request to you, Maharaj, is when you say Mauna Vrata and when you're chanting the holy name, do we still chant in our mind?
No, no, no. Mona doesn't mean no mantra.
Okay.
Mona means nothing else. That's what Mona means.
Yeah, because
We're not impersonalists, we're personalists. So saying Krishna's name is Mona Vrata.
I was really worried. Because yesterday I told you I was looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So when I was listening to you, I was thinking, okay, so we're not supposed to say anything. So how do we
Chant the
really
mantra when we
bring
don't say anything.
Krishna's name to our tongue
You
to
got the answer.
relish?
We chant the mantra and we don't.
But you don't say some nonsense or
Yeah, it's
other
just even,
things.
hey, what's for breakfast? Or,
Okay.
It's just regular conventional conversation. Besides nonsense, just
Thank you
not
for
regular
clarifying
conventional
that.
conversation.
Okay.
Unless you're a parent and you have to deal with a child that needs something, and then you do it softly.
But no what's up or hey, how you doing or any of that. So
Okay.
remember this, for 1 hour we'll be doing chanting, and then 9:30 there's prasadam. 10:30 we come back till 1:30, and hopefully anticipating finishing all 64 rounds by then, right? Why not? Have high goals. 1:30 there will be prasadam again, lunch. So maybe you can just walk around the temple so you can digest some of the breakfast prasadam that you honor. And then after lunch, 2:30 to 5 o'clock, you will continue on chanting Mauna Vrata again. So all day after this, no talking, not even during lunchtime. So typically, when you sit with somebody during lunchtime and you have a habit of just talking some things, maybe you want to find someone different today so that doesn't allow you to talk. I think yesterday I was sitting down with Kubera Prabhu and he indicated that tomorrow we should sit separate. I said, it's a good idea. So I'm using Kubera Prabhu's advice and sharing it with you because I think it's a great idea that you sit away and hopefully you will continue with your Mauna Vrata. And then 5:15 to 6 o'clock, which is part of the Sunday feast, crowd will be coming in here today. Maharaj and His Grace Badahari Prabhu will be sharing their, taking the shelter of holy name with all of us. 6 o'clock will be Arati, and then 6:30 to 7:30 there's some initiation ceremony that Maharaj will be conducting, and then a simple class on 10 offenses that is on schedule. And as I shared with you yesterday, His Holiness Ritadvij Maharaj was supposed to be here, but he stayed back in Dallas. So I'm pretty sure Maharaj will speak on the 10 offenses.
That would be interesting. We'll see. We'll see. Stay
Someone
tuned.
can reach out to Maharaj and maybe see if Maharaj can call in, and we can try to arrange for the speaker system to allow Maharaj to speak. So maybe somebody who's not taking the Mauna Vrata needs to call Maharaj.
You invite him. You're authorized. You can break Mauna Vrata, call Romapada Swami in. Because you're going to have to set up the technology anyway. And he says, no, I can't. And he says, yes, I can. You just go with that. Short. Real short.
Okay, so is everyone clear on the schedule from now on? Because there will be no talking. I will not be talking until 7 o'clock. Krishna willing.
Hare Krishna.
So, Mauna Vrata, breakfast, Mauna Vrata, lunch, Mauna Vrata, walking, chanting, 64 rounds. Yes, Mataji? That's
what's
a
the
question Maharaj has to answer.
What was your
Repeat your question.
Out of respect for those that haven't finished, yes. If you need to, like I gotta say something, go off by the trees or something and take the person you need to talk to over there. Just so that it helps the persons who are trying to stay fixed. Is that all right? Yeah, but I'm saying not exactly. I'm saying yes, but not in the presence of others who are not yet finished with their 64 rounds, because it can be distracting.